Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my subscribers lesson about IELTS. So it's Saturday morning here, and our local time is 5:29 a.m. And I'm with another lesson. Though this class has been designed and developed for the IELTS candidates, but because of my subscriber, I'm here to teach different things. So we are here today as well, likewise, to talk about demand of my subscriber. So dear viewers, we're going to share and before that we can talk about grammar and most probably about some listening skill of baby's English. All right. So let us listen to the BBC 6 minutes English.
bbclearningenglish.com. Hello, this is 6-Minute English from BBC Learning English. I'm Neil.
And I'm Sam.
Sam, would you describe yourself as sporty?
Well, I do like to go running and I might watch some sport on TV.
Would you watch sports like bandy, skeleton, or perhaps luge?
You're talking about quite specialized sports played on ice or snow, and that's because it's almost time for the Winter Olympics.
Yes, you're right. The 2022 Winter Olympics starts in Beijing on the 4th of February. This event will mark the return of the Olympics to Beijing for the first time in 14 years, having previously hosted the 2008 Summer Games.
That means Beijing will become the first city in the world to have hosted both the Winter and Summer Games. But these latest games are not without controversy. That's disagreement or argument about something people have strong feelings about.
More about that later, but as usual, I have a question for you, Sam. The Winter Olympics have not been around as long as the Summer Olympics. So do you know when the first winter event took place? Was it in A, 1904, B, 1924, or C, 1934?
Well, as they are relatively new, I'll go for C, 1934.
Okay, Sam, we'll find out if that's right later in the program. Now, this latest Winter Olympics are scheduled to include a record 109 events over 15 disciplines in 7 sports: biathlon, bobsledding, curling, ice hockey, luge, skating, and skiing. A discipline in this context is a particular way of doing a sport.
The BBC's China correspondent, Stephen McDonnell, went to a recent test event for the Olympics and explained what the organisers are hoping for.
In the mountains outside Beijing, the test events are in full swing. Games organisers will be hoping, despite the coronavirus headaches, despite the alleged human rights abuses, despite the allegations from a former Chinese Olympian, a tennis star at that, involving a senior government official, they can still produce a memorable Winter Olympics.
So that was Stephen McDonnell at a test event, which he described as being in full swing. So at its highest level of activity, its busiest. And he mentioned the controversy surrounding the games.
Yes, he mentioned the coronavirus headache. Not an actual headache, but something that causes a lot of problems. COVID-19 certainly makes it difficult to plan a huge event like this, particularly managing people who are traveling from all parts of the world.
On top of this, China is accused of human rights abuses against the Uyghur Muslims, and there is controversy around the tennis player Peng Shuai.
But despite the issues facing the Games organisers, they want to put on an event that is hard to forget, for good reasons. Stephen used the word memorable.
Well, seeing athletes hurtle down an icy track at 130 kilometers an hour on what looks like a tea tray is certainly unforgettable. This is what they call the skeleton.
Let's hear more about the preparations for the Games from the BBC's Stephen McDonnell.
The Games will be held in a freezing, mostly dry area. A mountain of snowmaking is required, but this can make for quick, dynamic runs. The athletes we spoke to said these sites will make for high-quality competition. For everyone here, the clock is now ticking.
So, despite this being a winter event held in a cold place, enormous quantities of artificial snow have to be made. Stephen McDonnell describes this as a mountain of snow. Not a real mountain, but a large amount of it.
But some athletes say this type of snow is good for speed and changing and developing or dynamic conditions. They hope it will be a high-quality competition.
Let's hope so, and it's not long until it starts. And for the athletes, the clock is ticking, meaning time is running out to prepare.
And our time is running out too, so Neil, what's the answer to the question you asked me?
Yes, I asked you when the first Winter Olympics took place.
And I said 1934.
Which was, I'm afraid to say, Sam, the wrong answer. The first Winter Olympic Games took place in 1924 and were held in Chamonix in the French Alps. The Beijing Winter Olympics is the 24th Games, and the Paralympic Games will take place a month later in the city between the 4th and the 13th of March 2022.
Looks like I need to brush up on my Winter Olympics knowledge, but not before we recap some of the vocabulary we've mentioned, starting with controversy, disagreement or argument about something people have strong feelings about.
We talked about something being in full swing, so at its highest level of activity.
And a headache is metaphorically something that causes you a lot of problems.
A mountain is not only a very high hill. Used metaphorically, it means a large amount of something.
Something continually changing and developing can be described as dynamic.
And finally, the clock is ticking means time is running out to prepare for or complete something.
Well, the clock is no longer ticking for us because our 6 minutes are up.
Goodbye for now.
Bye-bye.
6 Minute English from the BBC.
Okay, Darius, that was BBC 6 Minutes English, which helps our learners develop and understand the comprehensive quality. Because listening part is one of the hardest parts of IELTS exam. Many of our learners have said that they can't even understand when the speaker starts speaking. Remember, dear viewers, in the IELTS real life exam, even in the daily life conversations, most of the times, we speak just once, and it is not repeated. Okay, which is why before they start the conversation or the test, they says, listen carefully because it will be played just once. So this is an important instruction for the IELTS candidates. Whenever you're sitting for the IELTS exam, you need to listen to it carefully because it's not going to be repeated. So today I bought an IELTS practice listening test audio, part 1. So that's just a sample test. Disclaimer, this test is only for the practicing of the IELTS candidates, and it is from online. Okay. So once again, dear viewers, you're watching the live stream from the UK, and our local time is 5:42 a.m., which is the UK time. Through these classes and lessons, I try to explain different kinds of strategies of IELTS exams. But because of the demand of my subscriber, if he's here, then we have to just describe and discuss according to his demand. So let's move on until he's here.
Test 1. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to Section 1. Section 1. You will hear a conversation between a clerk at the inquiries desk of a transport company and a man who is asking for travel information. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5.
Before we start the sample test, there are 2 important instructions. It says, complete the notes below, write no more than 2 words and or a number for each answer. So dear candidates, you need to understand that when you are answering these questions, you must use 2 words or 1 number. Okay, So 2 words or one number together, or only 2 words. So the meaning of this 2 words, or it could be 2 words and a number, 2 words and one number, and second one would be only 2 numbers. So you got to follow the instructions carefully, and as it has said, it will be played just once. So we need to be careful when you're listening to it. Remember, the basic technique of answering is that as you go through, click the answer on your exam paper, because at the end of the test, you'll be given 10 minutes to transfer your answer from your question paper to the answer sheet, and which is very important. And in IELTS exam, there are 2 types of IELTS exam at the moment. One is computer based, another is paper based. In paper based exam, you have to just fill it up with the answer sheet with a pencil. You have to just cover the whole circle of the correct answer. But in computer based, you can click it on the computers, with your mouse. Okay, so it is your discretion which exam you like to take. All right, it could be computer based, or it could be paper based exam. Remember that both have got similar value, similar expiry date, which is 2 years, and both are controlled by the IDP Australia and British Council UK, or the Cambridge exam center. So this is very much important information for you. So let's move on. Let's listen to
You
it
will
from the
hear a
very
number
beginning.
of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to Section 1. Section 1. You will hear a conversation between a clerk at the inquiries desk of a transport company and a man who is asking for travel information. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5.
So
You will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Good morning, Travel Link. How can I help you?
Good morning. I live in Bayswater and I'd like to get to Harbour City tomorrow before 11 a.m.
Well, to get to Bayswater...
No, I live in Bayswater. My destination is Harbour City.
Oh, sorry, right. So that's Bayswater to Harbour City. Are you planning to travel by bus or train?
The man wants to go to Harbour City, so Harbour City has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good morning, Travel Link. How can I help you?
Good morning. I live in Bayswater and I'd like to get to Harbour City tomorrow before 11 a.m.
Well, to get to Bayswater...
No, I live in Bayswater. My destination is Harbour City.
Oh, sorry. Right, so that's Bayswater to Harbour City. Are you planning to travel by bus or train?
I don't mind, really. Whichever option is faster, I suppose.
Well, if you catch a railway express, that'll get you there in under an hour. Let's see. Yes, if you can make the 9:30 a.m. express, I'd recommend you do that.
Great. Which station does that leave from?
Helendale is the nearest train station to you.
Did you say Helensvale?
No, Helendale. That's Helendale.
What's the best way to get to the Helendale station then?
Well, hang on a minute while I look into that. Now, it seems to me that you have two options. Option 1 would be to take the 7:06 bus from the Bayswater Shopping Centre to Central Street. When you get there, you transfer to another bus which will take you to the station. Or the second option, if you don't mind walking a couple of kilometres, is to go directly to Central Street and get straight on the bus going to the train station.
Okay, which bus is that?
The 792 will take you to the station.
I guess the walk will be good for me, so that might be the better option. What time do I catch the 792?
There are two buses that should get you to the station on time, one just before 9 o'clock and one just after. But look, at that time of the morning, it might be better to take the earlier one, just in case there's a traffic jam or something. The 8:55 is probably safer than the 9:05.
Yeah, I don't want to miss the train, so I'll be sure to get on the 5 to 9 bus.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10.
Okay, we are just stopping it here because for the explanation. As the instructions were given at the beginning, complete the answers no more than 2 words and or a number for each answer. So the question number 1 is express train leaves at, if you can remember, it's 9:30. So you're writing one word. Question number 1. So question number 2 is the nearest station is Helendale. If you remember, they have spelled it Helendale. Helendale. So this is one word as well. And question number 3, the number 76 bus goes to Central Street or Central Station. Okay. So the best option is that when you're listening to the corresponding answer, just write it in an exam paper as a note so that you don't forget. Okay, so it's an important matter for you being a candidate. You have to follow the instruction and you have to write the answer at the moment in the exam paper. Once again, at the end of the test, you'll be given 10 minutes to transfer all of your answers to the exam sheet. So it is question 3. Central Station. And question number 4. So 709 bus goes to station. Okay, question number 4. I think it's 755, not 709. You can write 755 bus, and the earlier bus leaves at, if you remember, they mentioned 2 times 8:55 and 9:05. The earlier bus leaves at 8:55, so it is 8-55. One greatest question or challenge about this IELTS answer is that very often students ask, do you have to write all of them capital letter or small letter or by normal capital and small or mixed letter? Dear viewers, there is no hard and fast rule, but you must remember, if you start answering by capital letter or uppercase, you have to write all of them in uppercase. You just can't mix them. Which I mean to say that if you start writing the answer with the uppercase, you have to write all of them uppercase. Do not write some of them uppercase, some of them with a lowercase. Similarly, if you are writing the answer in lowercase, you have to write all of them by lowercase. Do not mix it up with half lowercase. Some of them are lowercases or some of them are uppercases. Or if you like to write properly, like the first letter of the word must be uppercase. Remember that is the rule of English language. Then other words should be lowercase. Okay, just follow only one pattern so that it is easier for you as well as for the examiner to assess your quality of marking or answering. So, dear viewers, just give me a moment as I need to check something. I'll be back in 1 minute. Okay. So, dear viewers, my student has just sent me a message that due to some serious problem, the person is not going to attend today's and tomorrow's lessons. However, I'll continue a few more minutes, then I'll just end up this lesson because it is important that my students should be here, and then we can discuss all these rubrics and strategies. All right, and thank you very much once again for listening to me. Remember, whatever you learn from anyone, whether it's a teacher or a student, it's better for you to practice. Okay, practice on a regular basis. And thank you very much, guys. I'll see you when